Hi dance class. Today I'm going to show you guys how you're going to paint your flowers. So as you can see, this one, it's hard now. It's been fired in the kiln and all the water's been sucked out of it and it's been vitrified and turned to stone. So this process is called the bisque firing. This is the first process, and it got its name because it's almost like a biscuit. That's what the British call a cookie. They have a different name for it than we do, but that's where it got its name from, because a lot of the ceramic industry originated in England. So in this phase, the clay is really porous and can suck up color that we put on it, and then we fire it again a second time, a glaze firing, and then it turns a beautiful color, and it has this melted glass layer called glaze. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about before you get started on this, it's a little bit advanced, but it's about color theory. So I'm going to show you a little picture of a color wheel. Okay, so I'm sure you guys know about this, about the primaries, red, yellow, and blue, and how when you mix red and yellow, you get orange. When you mix blue and yellow, you get green. When you mix red and blue, you get purple, okay? And one of the things that I want you to know about when you start this is that these colors, these are called analogous colors. That's kind of a big vocab word, but that means next to each other on the color wheel. They blend into each other really well. So yellow, oranges, and reds, they just flow into each other. Same thing if you go this way. Yellows, greens, blues, purples, reds. You can see how they just flow. They mix really well with each other. The one thing you got to watch out for is if you mix across the color wheel. And these are called complementary colors. Here's another big vocab word. And complementary means they look good together. But it also, unfortunately, when you mix them, they don't look good together. So yellow and purple, those are complementary colors. When you put them side by side, they look great. But if you mix them together, they make brown. So same thing with orange and blue. If you mix them together, they make brown. And red and green, if you mix them together, they make brown. So we want to keep the colors on our flowers really vibrant, and we don't want them to get muddy and brown. So we just want to think about that as we're choosing and making sure that we don't mix across the color wheel to get muddy colors. So the other thing that I want to talk to you about too is that the lighter colors, so especially yellow, you want to do those first, because if you have a darker color underneath it, it's not going to show through as vibrantly. So this little plate here shows what all the underglazes look like once they're fired. And so because this is so light, if there's other colors underneath it, it's not going to pop out as bright. So if you choose to do yellow, I want you to do it first, okay? And same thing probably with orange or even this light blue color too. So the other thing is you want to choose the right tool for the job. So if you're doing like a big space, like maybe these big petals here, maybe you're going to use a bigger brush. And if you're doing small things, you're going to want to use maybe a little bit of a smaller brush. So I'm going to start in the middle here, and I'm going to start with my yellow. And you can see I have a very, very small amount of this. And so one of the things you're going to realize is that you actually don't need very much paint, or this is actually called underglaze. You don't actually need that much for what we're doing. So, and actually if you put too much on, when you fire it, which in the glaze kiln, if you fire it, it will come out kind of dull and matte and not glossy. And we really want it to look vibrant and glossy. So you really only need like 1 or 2 layers. And you can see how it's kind of glossy looking when it's wet, and then as soon as it dries, it gets what's called matte, which means it's not shiny anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna do my inner part yellow, and then I'm gonna do this next layer, this turquoise color, and I'm just being kind of careful to get into the cracks, and this is really gonna be challenging, you guys, because it's hard not to get on top of what you've already painted. It's gonna be a challenge. So you're just gonna have to do your best. And you know what? Flowers aren't perfect, nature's not perfect, and if you get the colors mixed up on each other, who cares? It's nature. It's not perfect, right? So we're not gonna worry about that too much. But I'm just getting in here. And one of the other things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have the individual colors in individual, you're not gonna have a palette like I'm gonna have. You're gonna have your individual colors in individual containers, and there's gonna be paintbrushes that are just designated for yellow and just designated for orange, so that we're not mixing. You can see I went right from my yellow to here, and you can see there's a little bit of spots where the two colors blended together. And I'm just doing it quick, and here I just put the turquoise in